I just wanted to update you from last time I did a video diary. It's been about a week now, the second week in Bogota. As you can hear, I'm getting a little bit ill. It's only my throat, but I'm hoping that that's all it is. Tatiana's had a bit of a cold, so I'm hoping that I haven't picked that up. Anyway, with the documentary progress, it's been pretty good this week. I interviewed some teenagers at the beginning of the week, which was really cool. Tatiana's niece, who's 17, and two of her friends. The boys were more reluctant, to go on camera, so I managed to get some audio interviews of them and a photo, but they didn't want to go on camera. So I've got a couple of girls' opinions, and I managed to get some good shots of some guys playing football and things like that, so hopefully I can kind of put a voiceover to the images. We then interviewed Tatiana's niece's teacher, her maths teacher, who was really willing.
Both Alejandra and Maria are against abortion but believe that teenage pregnancy is high due to a long-standing Colombian culture.
I don't agree with abortion. I think that if someone decides to have sex, they should think about the consequences. At my age, I'm not sure about contraception. Perhaps it's time to begin with taking contraception. But there are girls that are younger than me who take pills, and I don't think it's appropriate.
This is a bit of an intimate question, but if she were to have sex with her boyfriend, would she use contraception? It's a hypothetical question.
Si tú tuvieras sexo con tu novio, ¿usarías protección?
Sí.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pienso que todavía las personas son muy machistas.
I'm not saying we should be treated equally, but still, nowadays Colombia's culture is very macho. There should be a balance between the two genders.
Pues tampoco de tratarlos iguales, porque no somos iguales.
Many teenage attitudes to sex are very relaxed, as schoolteacher Jose explains.
There is not a class committed to teaching sex education in Colombia. Teenagers hear about sex education through the media, and that information is not appropriate for their age, so they don't understand it all and don't take it seriously.
Unfortunately, we'd asked for authorisation at the school to film. We'd been in there the first week and we haven't heard anything back, and it's just very frustrating trying to get authorisation in Colombia. My patience is wearing thinner and thinner, unfortunately. Probably because I'm running out of time. I really only have today, which is Friday, the weekend, of which Tatiana and her family have planned lots of lovely things for us to do, which I don't want to miss out on. And then next week I'm in Cartagena from Sunday to Thursday. We've had progress there, amazingly. We got in touch with a foundation called Juan Felipe Gomez, which was actually the first foundation that I saw on the internet that inspired me to come to Colombia. So that was actually really cool that we found them again. And I emailed them and they emailed straight back saying, of course, come here Monday morning, you can have an interview with me, who's one of the directors of the foundation. And then Tuesday you can spend the whole day filming the mothers and you can talk to them, ask them any questions, which is just exactly what I've been looking for. But this whole time in Bogota we've been struggling and battling against the ICBF, which is the government institution that authorises all the sort of filming or any kind of access to foundations here. And there's a lovely woman, Rosario Gayton, who we met on Monday, and she really wanted to help us, clearly. She was all ready, she had all her bags ready to go to kind of show us where to go, and then we had to call up for authorisation and they said no, not unless you've got this massive long letter filled out. So Tatiana and I went back home, filled out this long letter, and it's now Friday and we haven't heard anything, even despite the fact we've said, you know, I'm in a massive rush, I'm leaving next week, is there anything you can do quicker? So that's been a little bit disappointing. Rosario, bless her, emailed us yesterday just to say how's it going, when's Hannah going, lots of hugs, which was just really sweet. So she obviously is trying to help. There's another woman, Sophia, as well, who we met in the first week, right at the beginning, who's been trying to help us get in contact with an indigenous girl at a nunnery. But again, we keep phoning and she keeps saying she's really busy. There have been a few disappointments this week, I'm not going to lie. We were supposed to meet Tatiana's cousin this morning, but her and her baby boy have flu. yesterday we were supposed to meet Diana, Jimena's friend, who's a sociologist and studied in London, so she speaks good English. But she unfortunately cancelled because she's got too much university work on, so she's gonna hopefully call us next week. But the only day I've got next week is Friday, so you know, I'm gonna have to do everything on the last day before I fly back to the UK, which is a little bit scary. Also Norma, who Matthew Charles put me in touch with, is a single mum who used to work, or actually does still work for Crepes and Waffles, which is, I really still want to make part of my documentary, but again, we can't seem to get hold of anyone at Crepes and Waffles, so it's a bit of a nightmare getting authorisation. So we're hoping that Norma can help us. We were supposed to meet her yesterday, but she didn't go into work for some reason, so she said call her again this evening and we go and meet her this evening. So I'm really hoping that comes off, because that's the last thing that would be incredible if we could get. Successes this week. Yesterday I interviewed some human rights lawyers from Women's Link Worldwide, which was brilliant. They were really good. The actual senior attorney, Catherine Romano, didn't speak brilliant English, but she got her message across, and she said that they'd made massive progress in 2006 and they were actually part of the legal team that part legalised abortion in Colombia. So those three circumstances that Dali told us about right at the beginning, where if a woman's raped or violated, the fetus is, there's something wrong with the baby, or it's dangerous for the mother to have the child, then women are entitled legally to an abortion in Colombia, but all other cases they're not. So they're still trying to work on making it legal in other cases, which is interesting. So she was really handy. And then there was an English intern, another Catherine there, which was amazing. I mean, she'd studied Spanish and French at university, so she was fluent in Spanish, but obviously she's from England, so she could speak to me fluently in English about everything she saw that went on at Women's Link, and that was really, really cool. And she'd lived in Bogota, or Colombia, for a year previously, before her internship at Women's Link, teaching English, so she really knew the culture and the people. She'd had Colombian boyfriends, so she could tell me about the macho culture. So that was just amazing, because she was so fluent, and finally I could kind of understand who I was talking to, which was a bit of breath of fresh air. And then I also spoke to an Irish attorney there who didn't have as much knowledge of Colombia, but she could compare Colombia's legal system with Ireland's legal system, which is actually, I didn't realise, but very limited as well, quite restricting when it comes to abortion law. She said the law's very grey and a lot of people don't know where they stand, and actually that often means that women go out of the country to get abortions, which she said is currently changing, but that was quite interesting perspective and comparison. So those have been the successes this week, but also some failures, and I just want to highlight how difficult it is here to do journalism. You know, I see opportunities and the impatient journalist in me wants to pounce on them, but I'm constantly being told to wait and be patient, and I'm like, you know, if I wait and be patient, I'm not going to get anything. So it really is a lesson in you know, boundaries, I guess. And it's interesting from a journalism perspective of almost censorship. It is difficult to be a journalist here, and ideally I wanted to speak to Yara, who is a journalist here, and get her opinion on it, because she said off the record that it is very difficult and that journalists have a lot of enemies, but again, we can't get hold of her, and when we have got hold of her, she said to call back, so we're calling her back Saturday. We'll see what happens, but I'm not holding any hopes. Disappointment, I think, is the word in some of these instances, but really what I've got to look at is the bigger picture, and I do have lots of great interviews. I'm just really hoping that the foundation in Cartagena really does, you know, round off my documentary, and perhaps an interview with Norma from Crepes would be perfect. And then, you know, I think I've got plenty of material otherwise. It's just those two things that really would finish off the story. So fingers crossed, wish me luck, and I'll speak again soon.